Recording progress, always good. Progress is good. Not all progress is good, but some progress is good. Second. All right, here we go. So, as we have said, that's why, Amuna is called Yerushalayim. It starts with the main building of the concept of Yerushalayim is from Bereshis. We said Bereshis, Rishus Labinu HaKadosh, Nahum Ben Fegin. Bereshis is the point at which creation starts. That's the very tip, the very root of Olam Atzilus. That is the Bereshis. We said that we have Bereshis and we have Bara. Bereshis, Bara, Elokim. So we have Bereshis and Bara. The word Bereshis contains the word Bara in it, the first three letters. And then is the second three letters says Shin Yud Tov, which means 6. Bara, 6. The second word is bara, which is half of it. In other words, bara is half of Bereshis. Bereshis is the whole thing. Bara is the first half of it. The point that Rabbeinu is making here is that perfection is only by Hashem Yisbarach, before the world was created. Before there is a constriction of any sort. Because the minute there's constriction, it's already a bara. It's not a Bereshis anymore. Bereshis is Ma'ama Shalom. It's completely, Edenilah. That's Av. That's whatever it is that's the Mayon. Whatever it is that. Now, we have explained that as things trickle down in the process of manifestation of reality, there's always, the originating point from which, it gives birth to a lower level. And euphemistically, the higher level is called Bereshis, and the Lord that comes from it is called Bara, is a half a mamar. It's a father and a son. A full and a half. Now the thing is, in that half, that lower part, when it gives birth to the next level, then it becomes the Bereshis, and the level after it becomes Bara, and so forth and so on. So we said that ultimately in this world we have this we have a manifestation of the Bereshis, of that Nekuda of Ein Sof. Everything that exists in Olam, in Olam Haba, exists in a certain way in Olam Hazeh. There is a manifestation, an expression of Olam Hazeh in this world in the form of Kodesh HaKodeshim. Kodesh HaKodeshim in Beis HaMikdash is the Gan Eden in this world. That's the Olam Haba in the physical world. Yerushalayim Bechlal is an expression of the relationship of this Bereshis, because Bereshis includes the two words that make what Yerushalayim is. The Tikkun Ezra says Bereshis bara contains one of the combinations of words that the word Bereshis contains is Yireh Boshes, is fear, awe, and Boshes and shame. It's not, and we said already in the shir in Breslov that there are two types of shame. They're both basically, the ends of the same paradigm. There is a shame that is toxic. There's a shame that is productive. Shame always is always the end product of facing the superior, the greater. And it's not just greater, it's greater than you, but it's greater in a sense that you should have been there. You should have gotten that too. The only reason why you didn't get that great, you didn't become that great, is because you didn't want it hard enough. You were not committed enough. And when you come face to face with it, the only thing that is left is shame. Now, if you happen to be fortunate enough to be ashamed in this world on that account, then shame can become a very, very productive thing. It can obviously spur you on. If looked on from the right perspective. Shame is that needling suspicion that you need to be better. You really should be better. Now, it's a very touchy point. This is why you need friends, you need a Rav, you need people to tell you that sometimes the thing to do in the pursuit of becoming everything that you need to become is to take things as they come. It's not to bang your head against the wall. Rabbeinu crystallizes it in Torah Vav, to utter perfection. He says that the way to regain the real tshuva is in hearing one's shame and keeping silent. Rabbeinu explains later that the reason why I'm keeping silent is because I realize that it's not that somebody is being awfully cruel to me and is shaming me for no reason at all. But I have done whatever it is, or have not done whatever it is I should have. And Mishamayim, they put the mirror in front of me. And the result of that is that I'm feeling shamed. By accepting it, I'm doing tshuva. And Rabbeinu says that the way to do it, in the process of doing tshuva, there is two types of proficiencies. There's a proficiency of what you do when things go great. You should realize you ain't done diddly. You didn't even start. As great as you might be. And on the other hand, if you find yourself in the deepest pit, Shino HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with you and by you at all times. You're never alone. This kind of seesaw, this kind of being able, almost this counterintuitive way of keeping your equilibrium. You know, not getting a swell head when things are going well, and not becoming despaired when things, are not going your way. These two aspects represent the kind of proficiencies that you need to acquire in order to climb the ladder. So we said that Yerushalayim has Bereshis, it has Taman Yira. There is Yira comes from the fact that you're exposed to Kedusha, you're exposed to Hashem Yisbarach. Then there's Boishas. Boishas is the fact that you realize your shortcomings. It's not just that you're looking and going, wow, this is unbelievable. No. You also realize what is your relationship with that. What is expected from you in that relationship. And that is personalized in the form of Yerushalayim. Yireh, Boishas. They're both in the word Bereshis. Yerushalayim is a manifestation of Bereshis, of beyond creation. So, Taman Yira, Shalom, there is a complete Yira, and there's Shalom, the Shalom. The Shlemus. Taman Yira, Taman Shalom, this is Bereshis, Yira Boishas. It's Mama Shalom. It's a complete Mama. This is because Yerushalayim represents the Emunah. Emunah comes, as you recall, from the 7 shepherds, right? They are the ones who will cultivate the Emunah. When you come closer to the true tzaddikim, this is when you're zoicha to the kind of Emunah that you need. Now, Velaroim yefshar liskorev kimel de azus. There's no way that you can come close to these shepherds except through boldness. You're going to get derided, you're going to get humiliated, maybe they're going to laugh at you, or they're going to jeer you, whatever it is. But that doesn't matter. Because this world is just a mean to an end. Well, azus, and to get the kind of azus, not the kind of azus to feel that, hey, the world belongs to me, the world is my oyster, therefore I can do whatever it is I want. This is, you get the azus through simcha. The kind of simcha that we're talking about is not just, yay, I made it, I got it, unbelievable. No. This is a simcha that has a cause, a causality kind of thing. That if I'm successful, I'm happy, but if I'm not successful, I'm unhappy. That's not the kind of simcha we're talking about. We're talking about simchas olam al reishon. We're talking about eternal simcha. Eternal simcha is something that is the product of the fact that you are in the process of trial and error. You're in the process of succeeding and failing. Both the failure and the success together comprise simcha. It's a simchas olam reishon. And we said that simcha zochel b'chinas nasa v'nishma. Nasa v'nishma is that climb. Nasa is where you're holding. Nishma is where you want to be. Nasa is the half a mamar, is bara. Nishma is tefillah, is bereshis, is the next level, which you keep on going up and up and up and up. V'ikar shleimus simcha, and the main shleimus of the simcha. In other words, you can really internalize and encompass that and feel that simcha while they yira. When you have the proper yira, you feel that simcha. Commensurately with how much yira you have, this is how much simcha you will feel. But Rabbeinu says that it works both ways. Everything here, it goes, the means and the end are always interchangeable. You get to Azus through Simcha. You get to Simcha through Azus. You get to Nasav and you get Simcha through Nasav and Nishma, and you get to Nasav and Nishma through Simcha. That's what Rabbeinu says. You have to be very careful to be besimcha all the time. Well, how can I be besimcha if I feel it doesn't matter because you succeed in being in the process? Okay, so what do? Is you fake it until you make it. I don't feel besimcha, so fake it, sing, dance with the broom. I don't care. Say silly jokes, make silly sounds. Fine. But get yourself on an expanded consciousness. That will get you into Nasa v'Nishma. If you're depressed, you're not able to really contain anything. You're not able to contain failure. If you have expanded consciousness, okay, you win some, you lose some, it's called Rebbe guilt. No problem. I knew I shouldn't have done it. I never do it. I'll always be bad. I'm no. Well, first of all, both ways. Nasa v'nishma leads to Simcha. Simcha leads to Nasa v'nishma. Shlemus Simcha is the Yira. As it says, Gilo bir Odo. In other words, the Ikar Gilo, the Gilo of Simcha, the main happiness and joy is through tefillah, which is yira, which is realizing what you're up against and realizing that you are involved in the process. Shebchinas nishma bchinas mama shalom. The word mama shalom indicates that in there is the shlemus. Shamika shlemus. In other words, the main perfection, the main shlemus of the simcha, which is the proper azus de kedusha, you're zoicha when you refuse to remain on the same level, and you are resolute to go higher and higher at all times. In Avodas Hashem, that this madrega that you have already attained is a nasa. It's Torah by you. But you want all the time, you want to get to a higher level, to a higher madrega, to go to a higher level, which is the nishma for you, which is the nister for you right now, which is the tefillah for you right now, which is the yira for you right now, which is busha for you right now. Because you still didn't get that madrega. You're still short. You should get there, but you know why you didn't? You didn't work hard enough, did you? And this is Ein Sof. This madrega, this busha that you haven't achieved yet is infinity. Vis-a-vis the madrega where you're now. Right now I'm in, constricted consciousness. What's above me is what is still left to know. It's infinity. But still, you want to get there. You want to get there with all your heart. Sometimes you want to get to more, sometimes you want to get to less. You have bad days, good days, bad hair day, whatever it is. Yeah. But this is your gang. This is where you're pushing for. You still crave with all your heart to get to a higher madrega, and you daven for it, and you cleave onto it, you fuse into it. The great dvekus and bitul, and yira and great busha. The Rabbeinu asked Reb Nosson, says, "Do you ever blush before Hashem is Baruch?" In other words, you ever get to a madrega of realizing the proximity of Hashem is Baruch, great HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you just feel you blush from embarrassment. Rabbeinu says that Rabbeinu used to blush all the time. Such yira on Rabbeinu's face, because you're very embarrassed when confronting this huge madrega that is concealed from you, you really want to get to that high madrega. You want to be included in it. You want to make it yours, and you make Beidadus as much as you can. That you should be zochet with. You beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whenever it is that you can, as much as you can, and you ask him, please bring me closer. You're going through situations where you have thoughts in your head that you should not have. And it feels like they're so magnetic, they're so tempting, that there's just no way that I'm ever going to do this. There's just no way. So you ask, I can't handle it. I keep on falling on the same thing. I thought this, I did this, I looked at this, or whatever it is that each person where, whatever it is nagia to him. So, I don't measure up. I can't do this. I'm begging you, please, please, please. And dafka, through this bechina, yezechet to simcha. That's the thing that will get you to simcha. It is through simcha you get to azaz the kedusha, to beat down the coarseness of the body. You to get tremendous asagas, tremendous illuminations from your neshama. You get illumination from Tzaddik Ador. And these illuminations that you get, because you're looking for it, you're becoming a tool for it, a vessel for it. Your busha, your yira is the vessel. And they get filled with the light, which is that is the light of the Nishma. From your neshama, from the Tzaddik Ador. And this is how the Emunah gets completed. Then you get the Nishma, the higher Madriga. And you keep on davening, you keep on asking, you keep on going to a higher and higher Madriga. You break the azos of your body more and more and more. And you get higher enlightenment from the Yonashama, from Tzaddik Ador. And this in itself is the attainment of the nishma that's high. It's a process that never ends. And it says that nimtza she'ika binyana emuna, the main completion of the emuna, which is Pchinas Yerushalayim Kirya Ne'emanu. Yerushalayim is a faithful city. Zochen adei tefillah. You get it through tefillah. Shu Pchinas Yira, Pchinas Mamashal. Constantly yearning for the higher madrega. This is how you get Yerushalayim Kirya Ne'emanu. You get the complete emuna. Kenikat emuna Yerushalayim. That's why emuna is called euphemistically Yerushalayim, which is Yira Shalom, a complete Yira. A Yira with perfection, with completion. Ki kar binyano el de bchinas Yira, the main thing that constructs Yerushalayim. It gives you the tool, the vessel, to contain, the vessel to get that which is here above you is the Yira. Bchinas Mama Shalom, the Bchinas Bereshis, Yira Boshes, Mama Shalom. And all that is expressed in the pasuk Eidus Hashem Ne'emanu. The testimony of Hashem is faithful. Eidus Hashem. What is Eidus Hashem? Eidus Hashem obviously is the mitzvahs of the Torah, but it also refers to the Adayim, Eidus Mishon Adayim, which means the jewels, the crowns that we got on our Sinai when we got the Torah. Shem Adon Ne'emana, that builds the Emunah. And this is all, alluded to in the Pasuk that Yaakov Avinu said to Yosef, Misham Roya Even Israel. And from there, shepherds Even Israel, the stone or the gem of Israel. And in other words, he was al pipshat. From there, from being a tzaddik, from being, withstanding the nisayon with the wife of Potiphar, he got the jewel ring on his finger, and he became the ruler of Mitzrayim, of Am Yisrael. Misham Roy Even Israel. What is the targum of Even? So this says Even is Av Uben. It's a single word that includes the word Av, which is father, and the word Ben, which is son. Av Uben. Even. This is a very important nekuda to mention. When it says Even Israel, Yosef was zochet to a bchina of Even Israel. Av veben as one, because Yosef HaTzadik embodies the perfection of father and son at once. See, Yosef is an anomaly, meaning, on one hand, he's not a patriarch. These are only Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. On the other hand, he's not a shevet, he's not a tribe either. His two children are. He has the aspect of being a patriarch, and he has the aspect of being the son. He has an aspect of being an Av, and he has an aspect of being a Ben. In a sense, he's everywhere and he's nowhere. In other words, where's Shevet Yosef? No such thing. There's Menashe and Ephraim. Okay, beseder. They constitute Yosef. But there's no Shevet Yosef. There's Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. There's no Yosef. His children are. Okay, so where is he? Well, he's one step back. One step back was over Yitzchak and Yaakov. Where's Yosef? He is with the Shvatim and he is with the patriarchs at the same time. And at the same time, he is nowhere. He's everywhere and he's nowhere. Meaning that is the epitome of the Yesod. Yesod is the gateway to everything that comes afterwards. The Yesod is the thing that gives voice to everything that came before him and projects it upon the Malchus. Av ben kechada. Av and a father and son in one compact deal. That's Yosef. On one side, nothing happens without Yosef. On the other hand, Yosef, there's no Shevet Yosef. Like he exists, he doesn't exist. In other words, after Kechada, the entire Bria comes from before creation, which is Av, and creation is Ben. Bereshis, Bara. And they there through this Even Israel. This, in other words, which is a Nishma. Not of a Nishma. All the time you chase the higher Nishma, which is Av Ben, Even, Av Ben. You always want to get to a Av. And right now, my Madrega is a Ben. I want to get to a higher Madrega, to Madrega of Av. Together is called Even. Misham Roy Even Israel. This is how you get to the Royim. In other words, you can get Misham Roya, the Royim, the 7 shepherds from whom you get the Emunah, Even Israel. Okay. So we have basically so far learned that there is a choisam, there's a seal that the tzaddikim construct because they sit with the Kodesh Baruch Hu consults with them. On one hand, they give the Kodesh Baruch Hu an eitzah. On the other hand, they go in his shlichus. He tells what to give an eitzah. Kodesh Baruch Hu tells them what are the judgments that are impending on the world, and on the other hand, he is the tzaddikim, the limudei Hashem. They go and they tell on Israel, they admonish them, and they tell them, listen, they give a musar. So listen, you goofed up. You know, really have to shape up. Now, this kind of fact that there are judgments on the world, something that has to be. I mean, if we are not behaving the way we should, it automatically generates judgments. You know, it's not a loosey-goosey kind of 60s, kids, do what you want as long as you don't hurt nobody. It doesn't work like that. You know, there are no free lunches because this world was created for a purpose. So whatever it is that we don't do what we need to do, there are consequences. As I've been saying lately over and over and over again, there's literally hell to be paid, right? Literally hell to pay. So there has to be consequences. On the other hand, the consequences that we want are only, the consequences that Kodesh Baruch Hu wants are only consequences which are productive. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants the consequences like a father who is admonishing his son. He wants the son to better himself and stick to the straight and narrow. He doesn't want to lay down the law in a way that will drive the child away. That's not what you want to do. That's exactly the opposite of what you want to do. That's opposite of what the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants to do. Now, so judgments in and on themselves are very touchy stuff. Kodesh Baruch Hu consults with the tzaddikim. He lets them know what the judgments are. And the tzaddikim, now they have a job. They have a job at Kodesh Baruch Hu of belittling, you know, the proportions of the infraction. And they have a job of telling Am Yisrael, listen, guys, what's the story with you, you know? Yo, I don't want to tell you, but hey, you know? What's the story with that? It's all messed up. But they have to conceal the whole thing. Because the minute things start trickling out, the Sitra Achra starts hearing about it, they're going to have a field day. They have a field day. That's why you have already people prejudging people. You have people talking about people. You'll never know who did what. You never know what's going on. You don't know what the rumors are. And the Rabbanon here and whatever it is, guys kill themselves. Literally kill themselves. He killed himself because he's a coward. Are you nuts? A person who's a person of Mammon will kill himself because he knows what's happening on the other side. You meet Beis Shalmal on the other side. There's no greater avera than suicide. When a person is driven to suicide, why? Because everybody knows. Come on, there's proof. There's evidence. You saw the proof? Did you see the proof? Everybody knows. It was in the newspaper. Excuse me? Whenever the judgment, that sensitive, there's infraction involved. There's shame involved. You have to be extra careful to seal it completely. We're an electrician here. You have to isolate it. There have to be an isolation right around the live core. Because there's electricity going on there. There's live electricity going on there. There's sakonas nefashos. It has to be totally concealed. That's the chosim apnimi. So the chosim, around this chosim, there's chosim achitzon, which is the emuna you can get only from the true shepherds of Am Yisrael. You come to them, you get true emuna, and with that true emuna, you get the musar from the mochech ador. Comes the question now that the outside seal protects the inside seal. When the inside seal chas v'chalila gets damaged, you know what happens when a high wire gets damaged? Shem Yirachem. There's machloikis, there's killings, there's a Shem Yirachem what there is. Okay? So, we say that the outside seal protects the inner seal. The outside seal is the emunah that you got from the Shiva Roim. Okay? How does that protect the inner seal? I'm full with emunah. I believe I got emunah from the Shiva Roim. I went through all the process that had to get me to this emunah. What now? How does this protect the inner seal? Because the inner seal is that tzaddikim have to seal not only the judgment when they hear about Him, Kadosh Baruch Hu, but also when they tell Am Yisrael, when they admonish Am Yisrael, they still have to be in a concealed fashion, so those outside will not notice what's going on. So comes the question: if I'm supposed to conceal the musar, if the tzad is supposed to conceal the musar, and not tell the people, listen, bad things are brewing, how are the people going to get the message? If you conceal it, they won't get the message. If you tell them, the chitzayim will suck from it and make a din achzeri, a judgment that will drive people away. If you don't say it, the people don't get the message. So how do you solve this conundrum? The answer is, when you get the emunah from the Shiva Roim, which means that you get the true emunah tzaddikim, the fact you get this emunah that this world is just a means to an end. This world is not the be-all and end-all of everything. This world is to prepare for the other side. That's what Rabbeinu says. Anybody who's a Shemai, when he gets up in the morning, keep it in your mind. There is oil mabo. So Mimela, when the tzaddikim, when the Mochich Ador give Teichocha, I say, oh man, I can't believe these Rabbanim, they stick their nose into everything. Or they're spoiling your fun. You want to take a cruise to Aruba, and that's sort of like spoiling the fun. There's olam haba. There's olam haba. What their motives is neither here nor there. I need to think about what the heck is going on. I can get so enmeshed in this, in looking at things from the eyes of this world. I know. And I've been through it, and I saw. And it's written in the newspapers. And everybody says that. Can't believe it. When you realize what's at stake, and when you realize the kedusha of the tzaddikim represent a living Torah. The really big tzaddikim represent a living Torah. I told you the mice of the Baal Tanya, that the person that was, people, set him up, and he came to the Baal Tanya, people heard it, but there's Parim Chadoshos Baal Chan. He said the mice again, it's always good, mice is from tzaddikim. A person was framed. Those times, person was framed, police came, sealed his store immediately. and his trial was like set like 2 months hence. Until then, there's nothing he can do. So people told him, listen, your goose is cooked. Your only chance is to go to Petersburg, to Petersburg, St. Petersburg, and speak to the minister of justice, and tell him, listen, you're being run over. So on the way to going there, he goes through various cities. He tells everybody about it. He gets, to a city along the way. They tell him, there's a tzaddik over here. He's a very wise man. He has contacts, whatever it is. He can give you advice. And that was the Baal Tanya. He goes and he speaks to the Baal Tanya. He tells them the entire story about how he listens to him. Hashem. And then he tells them, you probably learned Gemara. What is the difference between Malchuta Deshma and Malchuta De'ar, the Gemara says? The kingdom of heaven is the same as the kingdom of this world. What's the pshat in that? He says, I don't know. Baal Tanya says, same way as you can't just come to Kodesh Baruch Hu and call him by his name. You have to, use Kel, a Godol, a Gibor, a Neuro. You have to use his titles, the proper respect to come to him. This is how you come to the king. The same way you're supposed to do Malchus Da'ar, come to a king, you're supposed to address him, your excellency, your highness, I don't know what it is, He ends up going to Petersburg, and they said to St. Petersburg, and they told him over there, you ain't seen the Minister of Justice. It takes 3 years to go to see him. And the biggest protector you can get to see him in half a year. But, there's the garden, the czarist royal garden, that the Minister of Justice likes to take a walk in the morning. So what I suggest you do is you stand outside the garden, and when you see the minister come, run in and grovel at his feet and tell him what your problem is. So he does that. Doesn't seek him, whatever it is, standing there, waits, the guy comes, the minister comes, he grovels at his feet, tells him the whole story. And the guy tells him, I'm not the Minister of Defense. I'm the Minister of Science and Culture. So the guy's like, oh man, I can't believe it. He goes back to the gate to wait, maybe the Minister of Defense will still come. And then suddenly the Minister of Science and comes to him, comes back and says, you Jewish, aren't you? He says, yeah. He says, did you ever hear of the concept of Malchuta Deshma Malchuta De'ara? He says, yeah. Do you know what's the pshat in this? What does it mean? He says, yeah. He explains to him what the Baal Tanya told him. So the Minister of Science and Culture beams up and says, wait here, don't go anywhere. And he runs to the castle, to the palace. He comes back 3/4 of an hour now later, and all happy, and he says, listen, you did me a great favor. Last night, the Tsar asked me that question. It says in the Talmud of the Jews that Malchuta Deshma Malchuta De'ar, what's the meaning of that? And I didn't know what to answer. Now, I'm the Minister of Sciences and Culture. I'm supposed to know everything. So I told him, the king, his majesty, has asked a very deep question. Let me sleep over it. Let me think over it overnight, and I'll give you an answer in the morning. And now you gave me the answer. I ran to the Tsar and I told him that, and he loved the answer. So now that's a very big deal, because over here, in the palace, there's all kinds of court intrigues. Each one is trying to stab everybody in the back, whatever it is, and you have to, fight for position, jockey for position, whatever it is. So, getting brownie points by the Tsar is a big deal. And he really helped me out. I'm very happy about it. Now, there was just a little problem you told me about, with the Minister of Defense. Don't worry about it. The Minister of Defense is my best friend. I see him every day. I'm going to talk to him about it. Forget about it. He can go back home and I will be taken care of. And you went home. By the time you got home, there was already, messengers from the Minister of Defense that says, okay, bring out the proof. Well, the minute that people from the capital come asking questions, all the mice went back to their holes, and he got back his business. Everything became fine. Comes the question: did the Baal Tanya know that the Tsar is asking the question, whatever it is? The answer is no. But it doesn't matter. Because the minute that the Baal Tanya is Torah, he is cleaved, he's cleaved to Torah, he's Dovak b'Torah all the time. The Baal Tanya was saying everything, whatever the Torah was saying at that time, that's what the Baal Tanya was saying. Reality already played out to whatever it is that the Torah that came out of his mouth. Torah told the Baal Tanya, say, Malchut Shmaka Malchut Ha'ara, that's it. That's what he told the person. What's pshat? Thank you very much, your time is up, go. What's going to be? Don't worry about it. The world will rearrange itself to fit with that which the Baal Tanya said. Emunah Tzadikim means that you believe in that. You believe that tzaddik is not somebody who happens to be somewhat smarter than you, but he's just human. He's just a human being. He's just smarter than me. No. He's Torah. He is Torah. What he tells me, Torah tells me. Now, when you approach the tzaddik in such a way, the tzaddik doesn't have to, give you sermons filled with fire and brimstone to explain to you that there are judgments in the world. It's enough if you know the tzaddik, and you see that the tzaddik is always happy when he's doing something as suddenly he's not smiling. You, with your emunah that you got from the Sheva Tzaddikim, you realize something is wrong here. Something's not right. If I saw him not smiling, that means that I have to backtrack. I have to reverse engineer, find out what's going on. It's not just the tzaddik is in a bad mood. No, the tzaddik is Torah. The tzaddik is HaKadosh Baruch Hu talking to me. This is how you protect the Chosem HaPnimi. You allow the tzaddik to communicate to you that there are judgments on this world without being open about it. So the Chitzoniim cannot find out about it. Because they don't have the Geiger counter to find out the radiation that's going on. They don't have the whatever it is that there's current going on, that there's something going on. Your emunah makes you a vessel to receive the musar from the tzaddikim while it's still concealed. When it's encoded. You just think tzaddik, okay, it's another person, okay. So he's not smiling, what's the big deal? No. With this we concluded Seif Yud of Torah Chaf Beis. B'ezrat Hashem, next week, Wednesday, we will get to Seif Yud Aleph, which says a little bit about what's involved with this constant climb from Nasa to Nishma. So, when they tell you what this strategic objective is, they better tell you what tactics you need to use, what are the what are the problems along the way. You're supposed to, what the equipment you need, what kind of obstacle, what the intelligence is, whatever it is, you know how to cope with getting on the way. B'ezrat Hashem, we'll talk about this Hashem next week. Tomorrow we have a shir Mitzvah Hashem in Bres of Besmedrash on Lachish. Torah Medalad. It's also available on Zoom. And Mitzvah Hashem then Kodesh Baruch Hu Yazor. Mitzvah Shabbos. We have Sichas Aran, Sipar Baal Shem Tov. Whoever it is, it's a good time. So B'ezrat Hashem, whoever it is, we will see tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. Let me just